Chapter 1. A Headquarters on Manhattan. Right and left, the streets on Manhattan led to the waterfront. On horseback or afoot, a citizen eventually wandered down to the wharves, where a variety of snows, brigantines, barks, flatboats, and an occasional frigate strained on their moorings as the tide rose and fell. It was thus on an autumn morning, October 27th, 1787, with a tinge of chill in the air as housewives picked at the vegetables and fish piled in carts on Front Street. On Queen Street, workmen unloaded lumber amid the sound of sawing and hammering. Along the wharves, merchants scanned billboards announcing the wares to be auctioned before noon. Seagulls glided overhead on the incoming ocean breeze, screeching as they surveyed the scene for discarded fish heads and other trash dumped in gutters or thrown off piers. At the London coffee house, conversations took place amid steaming cups of tea, coffee, chocolate, or hot water flavored with black West Indian rum. If James Madison wandered as far as the coffee house that day, he must have dodged the fishmongers and the draymen without giving them much thought. Surely a stop at John Maclean's print shop was on Madison's itinerary, for the day's business began with a quick perusal of the New York Independent Journal. To reach Maclean's busy establishment, Madison walked down Maiden Lane to Crown, turned left at the Fly Market, and strolled to 231 Queen Street. Madison could not tarry at the printer's, but stayed long enough to pick up his paper and probably exchange a few greetings with other subscribers. The newspaper's columns were filled with an essay signed by Publius, which Madison was eager to see in print. The author was Alexander Hamilton, but that was the printer's secret shared with Madison and John Jay. Chances are good that Madison soon was chatting with Hamilton either at Maclean's or at his rooms, for the young New York lawyer lived at 57 Wall Street. Not a towering figure of a man, neither was the 5'6" Madison, Hamilton had sparkling, alert eyes. The idea for a series of essays designed to bring New York into the pro-ratification column for the proposed Constitution was his. Hamilton was a good arm-twister when he used his charm, so Madison agreed to help, as did Hamilton's friends Jay and William Duer. Gouverneur Morris, the peg-legged gentleman who'd written the final touches into the proposed Constitution 6 weeks earlier at Philadelphia, also was asked to contribute. At any rate, the arrangements were made secretly to give the essays the appearance of objectivity, as though the real author was a public-spirited citizen who ground axes for no one. Hamilton, convinced that public opinion might force the stubborn New York political machine headed by Governor George Clinton to backtrack, found the printers cooperative. John Maclean's best customers were the lawyers and merchants who regarded Clinton as a provincial character, jealous of any attempt to weaken the state government he controlled. Clinton's strength was upstate New York, and around the Manhattan Battery he had more critics than friends. John Lansing and Robert Yates, Clinton's political allies, had walked out of the Philadelphia Convention in a huff. They wanted no part of the new plan of government that would diminish the power of Clinton and his coterie. But Hamilton, placed on the New York delegation to please Manhattan's merchant community, had a different idea. Quietly, he pursued the notion that newspapers could exert enough pressure to weaken Clinton's resistance to the new plan. And Hamilton knew the local scene well enough to realize that only one newspaper printer was sympathetic to Clinton's policies. Besides the Independent Journal, Hamilton found the printers of the New York Packet and the Daily Advertiser willing to give him space. The plan was to submit 4 essays each week to appear until the state ratifying convention met next June. Accordingly, Hamilton chose the pen name Publius, buttonholed his friends for aid, and even, if tradition is to be credited, wrote his first essay on board a sloop bound from Albany to New York. The original scheme had its drawbacks. Madison soon learned that despite Hamilton's assurances, the brunt of the work would fall on his pen and Hamilton's. Duer's essay proved a disappointment. Morris begged off completely, and illness forced Jay to quit after writing 4 articles. Thus, the burden of writing what came to be known as the Federalist Papers fell to non-lawyer Madison and his aggressive, restless associate. At a time when both discretion and custom favored the use of a pseudonym carrying overtones of public virtue, Hamilton chose Publius, the Latin equivalent of a Christian name loaded with the connotation of disinterestedness. The essays had as their immediate target the people of the state of New York. Both Madison and Hamilton saw New York as the critical battleground for ratification, and they promised to keep printers busy until the issue was settled. Their commitment involved